Hello internet, my name's Lave and this week I watched The Accountant, which is directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also directed Pride and Glory amongst others, but perhaps he's most remembered for his film Warrior, the Rocky-esque sports drama film set in the world of UFC fighting, which I have seen once and I bought it because I liked it so much, but apparently I haven't watched it since. I'm gonna do that. This time around he's directing Ben Affleck, who stars as Christian Wolf, who we see as a young boy as he's diagnosed with autism and OCD, who has highly advanced cognitive skills and a genius level intellect, which makes him really good with numbers but not so good with people. So he grows up to become an accountant who uncooks the books for mobs and mafias and drug dealers and in general unsavoury people, which is risky and hazardous business, but fortunately for him, he can kick ass. He can really kick ass. I love the fact that his weapon in this is an anti-aircraft rifle which he uses to snipe the shit out of people. He's hardcore. Unfortunately, things are starting to heat up. You've got assassins who are in the mix who are working for the same criminals, cleaning up their mistakes, and the Treasury are also onto him and are closing him down, headed by J.K. Simmons, who's imminently due to retire but has recruited a young protege to take over for him. So Christian decides to lay low for a while and takes on a legitimate job, but that's when things really hit the fan and now we have our movie. So I was really looking forward to this film. I thought it had a really interesting premise, the trailers looked really slick, and I was really encouraged when a lot of the American YouTube movie reviewers were saying really positive things about it. I think it was Chris Stuckman who describes this film as Jason Bourne meets Good Will Hunting. Chuck in a bit of Rain Man in there and I'd absolutely agree with him. And I also agree that this film is really entertaining and enjoyable, but only up to a certain point. At one stage the film just completely nosedived for me. Now I'm going to try and explain why, but without giving away spoilers. It's going to be hard, but here we go. So the first hour and a half of this film is where it's at for me. I really enjoyed the fact that they took their time to establish their world and develop their characters. Now I know I say this in pretty much all of my reviews, believe me, I'm getting tired of it as well, but they do utilise flashbacks. You see the murder take place in another flashback, i.e. the use of flashbacks. Yes, I do say it a lot, but then they use them a lot. Flashback. Now, I'm not saying that I'm against flashbacks, even though they are the Hollywood cliche these days in terms of the way that films are structured. If it's utilised in the right way, then it can really work, and it is really effective in this film, particularly when you see flashbacks of him as a boy and the way that him and his family deal with his autism, particularly his father, who is a soldier, and he approaches the whole thing with military precision and wants to train him to cope with the way that the world is, which explains why he's such a badass. And that was really cool, and I did like that, but, and this is the problem for me, there are subplots which they don't slowly drip feed and let you figure out by yourself. In fact, it's like they forgot about the subplots and were like, ooh, so they get a character to give you exposition in a 10-minute flashback, which just completely undermined the rest of the film. The funny thing is there's a tagline throughout this film about solving puzzles, and with regards to Christian Wolf, it is like you're getting bits of the puzzle and you're slowly figuring it out. With regards to the rest of the characters and the subplots, it's like they just give you the finished puzzle and go, there you go. Which was just so frustrating for me because I was really digging the first hour and a half of this film. But then comes the final nail in the coffin, for me at least, which involves a plot twist which I'm not going to spoil here, but it was so painfully obvious in the first and second act. I remember thinking it would be so stupid if they do this, and oh brother, they went ahead and did it. It just really annoyed me because it was like an elephant in the room, and I thought, are they going to address it or aren't they? And in the end they try and use it as this plot twist thing, and you'll know when you see it. It just really annoyed me. As I say, the first hour and a half though I thought was really good and probably worth your admission ticket alone. There was a point where I thought, whoa, they're taking this really seriously. I wish they'd lighten it up a little bit, and then they did with the introduction of Anna Kendrick's character, and I really liked the platonic relationship between her and Ben Affleck's character, who I thought was really good in this. He gave a really subtle performance, and there are loads of nods to other films and DC Comics and the DC universe. I thought, yeah, I see ya. John Bernthal is in full-on Punisher mode. Yeah, Batman and the Punisher in the same movie. That should be amazing, right? It was all going so well and just... So that's my thoughts on The Accountant, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed with the way that this film ended. Maybe I'm overreacting a bit. A lot of the people that I talked to on the way out thought that it was really good, and I agree, the first hour and a half was really good. I thought they balanced the action with some really good humour and some intrigue with some really nice character building. It was great, the first hour and a half at least. I keep replaying this film in my head and recutting it, but in a chronological order. I can't help but feel that it might have worked a bit better. It certainly would have been more refreshing to see it in a linear fashion. And maybe if they'd cut a few of the subplots out and maybe tackled the plot twist or made that more of a focus in the film, either that or cut it altogether, I do think that there is a potentially really great film in there. Instead, I think it was starting to be great, and then no. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, I don't know, but then I feel like I said exactly the same thing in my last film review of Inferno, where a character literally tells you what's going on and is just full-on exposition. But there you go. But thanks very much for watching my review of The Accountant. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give the video a like, and don't forget to share the Lave. Flashback.